Question 1. During a single shift, a sterile processing technician suffers a thermal burn from a steam sterilizer cart, inhales fumes from a high-level disinfectant, and sustains a cut from a contaminated scalpel. Which three major categories of occupational hazards do these incidents represent respectively? A. Ergonomic, biological, and radiation. B. Physical, chemical, and biological. C. Mechanical, environmental, and infectious. D. Structural, respiratory, and pathogenic. Correct answer B. Knowledge point explanation. Core rationale. In the Sterile Processing Department, SPD, occupational hazards are grouped into specific categories. A thermal burn is a physical hazard, inhaling chemical fumes represents a chemical hazard, and exposure to contaminated sharps is a biological hazard. Trap analysis. Option A is wrong because ergonomic hazards relate to repetitive motions and lifting, not burns or fumes, and radiation is rarely encountered. Option C uses incorrect terminology. Mechanical and environmental are not the standard regulatory classifications for these specific risks. Option D lists structural, which is not a primary hazard category in this context. Concept extension. The fourth major category is ergonomic stressors, which involve injuries from lifting instrument trays, typically limited to 25 pounds, or prolonged standing. Question 2. Which of the following describes the systematic method used by healthcare facilities to assess the risks of specific activities and develop programs to reduce losses and injuries from exposure to those risks? A. Quality assurance methodology. B. Risk management. C. Exposure control planning. D. Root cause analysis. Correct answer B. Knowledge point explanation. Core rationale. Risk management is defined as the systematic analysis of potential hazards and the implementation of specific procedures or programs to minimize injury, legal liability, and losses from exposure to those risks. Trap analysis. Option F focuses on verifying product quality and sterility, not specifically managing overall injury risks. Option C is a specific document required by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, strictly for bloodborne pathogens, not the overarching hazard analysis framework. Option D is a reactive investigative tool used after a specific event, whereas risk management is a broader, proactive system. Concept extension. Employers track workplace injuries systematically using the OSHA 300 log to identify trends and improve risk management strategies. Question 3. A technician accidentally splashes a new brand of enzymatic detergent into their eyes while manually cleaning instruments in the decontamination area. To immediately determine the specific first aid measures and chemical properties, what critical document must the technician consult? A. Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, 300 log. B. Manufacturer's Instructions for Use, IFU. C. Safety Data Sheet, SDS. D. Departmental Exposure Control Plan. Correct answer C. Knowledge point explanation. Core rationale. Safety data sheets, SDSs, contain critical information regarding chemical ingredients, health hazards, and most importantly, specific first aid measures and spill cleanup procedures that employees must know to work safely. Trap analysis. Option A is an official record used strictly for tracking work-related illnesses and injuries, not providing chemical guidance. Option B provides directions on how to operate or process a medical device, but the SDS is the legal standard for chemical safety and first aid. Option D strictly outlines protocols for biological hazards, bloodborne pathogens, not chemical spills. Concept extension. Per OSHA's Hazard Communication Standard, Right to Know, SDSs must be accessible to all employees 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Question 4. Fire safety is a critical component of disaster preparedness in a healthcare facility. For a fire to ignite and sustain itself in the preparation and packaging area, which three specific elements must be present simultaneously? A. Combustible substance, carbon dioxide, and friction. B. Flammable liquid, nitrogen, and an ignition source. C. Combustible or flammable substance, source of oxygen, and source of ignition. D. Paper wrappers, pressurized air, and static electricity. Correct answer C. Knowledge point explanation. Core rationale. The concept of the fire triangle dictates that three elements must be present simultaneously for a fire to occur: a combustible or flammable substance, fuel, a source of oxygen, and a source of ignition. Trap analysis. Option A is incorrect because carbon dioxide extinguishes fires rather than sustaining them. Option B is wrong as nitrogen does not sustain combustion. Oxygen is required. Option D lists specific examples that could contribute to a fire, but it does not represent the universal, defining three elements of the fire triangle. Concept extension. If a fire does start, staff should follow the RACE acronym: rescue, alarm, contain, extinguish/evacuate, and use the PASS method for fire extinguishers. Question 5. While opening corrugated cardboard boxes in the breakout area, an employee sustains a very minor paper cut on their finger that stops bleeding immediately. According to strict occupational safety standards, what is the mandatory course of action for this employee? A. Wash the cut, apply a bandage, and continue working without reporting it to save time. B. Report the incident to a supervisor immediately, regardless of how insignificant it seems. C. Wait until the end of the shift to notify the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, directly. D. Document the cut in their personal medical file but do not inform facility management. Correct answer B. Knowledge point explanation. Core rationale. Effective risk management requires that any workplace injury or accident, no matter how minor it may seem, such as a paper cut, must be reported to a supervisor immediately. Trap analysis. Option A violates safety protocols. Failing to report even minor injuries prevents the facility from tracking hazards or providing necessary medical follow-up. Option C is incorrect because internal incidents are reported to facility supervisors, not directly to OSHA by the employee. Option D fails to notify the employer, which defeats the purpose of the OSHA 300 log and the department's proactive safety culture. Concept extension. Immediate reporting ensures the employee receives proper medical documentation for long-term health protection and allows the department to implement corrective actions to prevent recurrence. Question 6. A newly hired employee believes that only the decontamination area poses a risk of injury due to contaminated instruments. They are assigned to work in the clean preparation and packaging area for their shift. Which of the following physical hazards are they still highly likely to encounter in this specific area? A. Exposure to high concentrations of aerosolized bloodborne pathogens. B. Thermal burns from heat sealers and steam sterilizer carts exceeding 270 degrees Fahrenheit, 132 degrees Celsius. C. Puncture wounds from blindly reaching into enzymatic soaking basins. D. Respiratory irritation from mixing concentrated high-level disinfectants. Correct answer B. Knowledge point explanation. Core rationale. Preparation and sterilization areas pose significant risks of injury to sterile processing, SP, technicians. Thermal burns from operating heat sealers and handling hot steam sterilizer carts, which reach temperatures over 270 degrees Fahrenheit, are prominent physical hazards in the clean assembly side. Trap analysis. Option A is wrong because aerosolized bloodborne pathogens are a biological hazard strictly managed in the negative pressure decontamination area. Option C is incorrect as enzymatic soaking basins are utilized exclusively on the dirty side for pre-cleaning. Option D is incorrect because mixing and using potent liquid chemicals like glutaraldehyde typically occurs in decontamination or specific high-level disinfection rooms, not the general preparation area. Concept extension. To mitigate thermal hazards, technicians must always utilize heat-resistant gloves, not standard latex or nitrile, when unloading sterilizers. Question 7. A healthcare facility receives a bulk shipment of compressed ethylene oxide (ETO) gas cylinders for low-temperature sterilization. To comply with strict occupational safety regulations, how must the sterile processing (SP) technician store these heavy tanks in the designated holding area? A. Positioned horizontally on the floor and secured with specialized heavy-duty straps. B. Stored vertically in an upright position and securely chained to a wall or sturdy rack. C. Placed inside a corrugated cardboard box to prevent the metal valves from breaking off. D. Stacked horizontally on a transport cart exceeding 25 pounds, 11.3 kilograms, to maximize storage space. Correct answer B. Knowledge point explanation. Core rationale. It is a critical safety rule that all compressed gas cylinders must be stored in a vertical, upright position. They must be securely strapped or chained to a wall, cylinder cart, or sturdy rack at all times to prevent them from tipping over and rupturing the pressurized valve. Trap analysis. Option A is completely false. Storing cylinders horizontally, lying flat, is extremely dangerous and violates safety protocols. Option C is wrong because a cardboard box provides zero structural support to prevent a heavy pressurized cylinder from tipping. Option D combines incorrect horizontal storage with an unrelated ergonomic weight limit, 25 pounds for trays, creating a highly hazardous situation. Concept extension. In addition to securing the cylinders, protective caps must always remain in place over the valves during transport to prevent physical shearing. Question 8. During the middle of a busy afternoon shift, a main municipal pipe bursts, causing a total loss of water supply to the entire sterile processing department, SPD. Because the facility can no longer generate steam or manually clean instruments, operations must halt. According to emergency management protocols, how is this specific event classified? A. An external disaster. B. A biological hazard exposure event. C. An internal disaster. D. An ergonomic stressor. Correct answer C. Knowledge point explanation. Core rationale. A utility failure, such as the total loss of the water supply, power outage, or a computer network crash occurring within the boundaries of the healthcare facility, is strictly classified as an internal disaster because it directly disrupts internal operations and safety. Trap analysis. Option A is incorrect because an external disaster refers to events outside the facility that cause a massive influx of patients, such as an earthquake or a train crash. Option B is wrong as a lack of water is a utility issue, not a direct exposure to bloodborne pathogens. Option D relates to physical body strain, like lifting, which has no connection to plumbing failures. Concept extension. Every healthcare facility is legally required to have a written disaster plan detailing how the Sterile Processing Department, SPD, should respond to both internal and external disasters. Question 9. Which of the following components must legally be included as a mandatory part of a healthcare facility's initial and annual safety training plan for all sterile processing, SP, employees? A. Instructions on how to perform preventive maintenance on the facility's main electrical generator. B. Emergency chemical spill procedures and instructions on how to properly read a safety data sheet, SDS. C. Techniques for surgically repairing instruments damaged during the manual cleaning process. D. Procedures for negotiating workers' compensation claims directly with the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA. Correct answer B. Knowledge point explanation. Core rationale. Under the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, Hazard Communication Standard, part of a facility's employee training plan must explicitly include emergency spill procedures and comprehensive instruction on how to read and comprehend a safety data sheet, SDS, to ensure chemical hazard awareness. Trap analysis. Option A is incorrect because maintaining the main generator is the responsibility of facility engineering, not SP technicians. Option C is wrong because repairing surgical instruments is strictly the job of a specialized instrument repair vendor, not part of safety training. Option D is false. OSHA enforces safety regulations, but workers' compensation claims are handled through the facility's human resources and insurance providers, not OSHA directly. Concept extension. Safety training is an ongoing legal requirement. Protocols regarding fire safety, hazardous materials, and bloodborne pathogens must be updated and reviewed annually. Question 10. While conducting a hazard assessment, which of the following items represents a universal, daily occupational hazard frequently found in the modern sterile processing department, SPD, rather than an outdated or unrelated risk? A. Exposure to ambient asbestos fibers from building insulation. B. Heavy metal toxicity from handling liquid mercury thermometers. C. Ergonomic stressors from lifting trays weighing up to 25 pounds, 11.3 kilograms, and slips in wet decontamination areas. D. Radioactive contamination from interacting directly with boiler compounds. Correct answer C. Knowledge point explanation. Core rationale, modern sterile processing, SP, technicians face specific daily risks. Ergonomic stressors, from heavy lifting and repetitive motion, and slips/falls, due to wet floors in the decontamination area, are two of the most universally common hazards continuously present in the workflow. Trap analysis, option A is incorrect. While asbestos is a hazard, it is generally not an ongoing daily risk in modern daily operations unless the building is undergoing uncontained renovation. Option B is outdated. Modern facilities utilize mercury-free instrumentation. Option D is wrong because interacting with boiler compounds is the domain of facilities maintenance, and it does not typically involve radioactive contamination for SP staff. Concept extension. To reduce ergonomic injuries, standard practice dictates that instrument trays should not exceed 25 pounds, and heavy items should be stored within the power zone, between the waist and chest.